EEP1 by Sheila Chandra with the Ganges Orchestra was released in 1999 as a limited edition, and its counterpart, EEP2, was released not long after. They had about 30 minutes of music, just over on each, and Sheila's agreed to let little old Indipop release them both on one album. So that's what we're up to at the moment. EEP1 and 2, well, Sheila had been having ongoing voice problems with her singing really since 1993, and by 1999 it was improving, and it made it possible for her to work on EPs and to use a larger palette of vocal sounds and build her confidence with some experimental recordings that were limited edition. And so I suppose it was kind of limited damage that Sheila was thinking. But as soon as you got the Ganges Orchestra, there's always some, well, not sound damage, but some kind of naughtiness and pushing at the form. And it suited Sheila at the time. According to Mark Sinker of The Wire magazine, the EEPs were as gnomic as a physicist's notebook. And some of them are very raw and episodic. They're kind of early sketches. And it had been several years since Sheila was last in the studio with a bone-chrome drone. She decided that if we worked on these EPs, she could break the mould kind of thing, following her four phenomenally successful and beautiful solo voice albums for Peter Gabriel's Real World label during the 1990s. All this was kind of clearing the way and preparing the ground for a change of direction if she chose. So when we'd recorded the EEPs, we went to Lightning Records, who are an export company. It was really a chance of leaving the kind of the major distribution in America. We always refer to America because it was just Sheila's biggest market. And coming back to Indipop for a project like this, which was, we individually signed and numbered them as well, by the way. So Lightning were pre-warned that the EEPs were going to be eclectic musically and at times just downright weird, challenging, unconventional, all this kind of stuff, even by Sheila's own standards of willingness throughout her career to take risks, embrace change, and buck trends. But by involving the Ganges Orchestra's edginess, rhythms and drones, distorts, the project gave Sheila a kind of license, a temporary partner in crime, if you like. Stuart Bruce was mixing engineer for Sheila's four solo voice and drone albums. He also worked on Monsoon's recordings in '82, so Sheila was very much at ease with Stuart and myself, of course. The first thing we did for this session was to bring Sheila in for 4 or 5 hours, and she was just making all sorts of very unconventional sounds, things like close miking her when she ate and crunched cough sweets with her mouth open, and lots of things from her singing lessons, vocal exercises, and anything to kind of build a palette of sounds from Sheila that would be then going to be matched by the rhythm and drones of the Ganges Orchestra. She also did some Mongolian chanting, elocution lessons, the kind of stuff she was learning at stage school, and singing exercises and vocal helicopters, any sounds that she could remember so that we could use them as starting points for these tracks. Playful poetry, as well as lots of singing, of course. The Ganges Orchestra, well, I formed them in 1983. It's a musical outlet, a safety valve, if you like, for any ideas that I've got which wouldn't normally fit Sheila's musical direction at the time. Who's in the Ganges Orchestra? Well, it's a very casual, low-key affair, very informal, haphazard, but pretty much any of my friends who turn up at the studio at the allotted time are in the Ganges Orchestra. And where did the Ganges Orchestra record? Well, it could be at Bruce Sword's studio. He's from the Pineapple Thief. Did a lot of recording in his studio. Andy Allen's Bristol studios at the time, and Richard Branson's Old Barge studios. These are some of the places we were recording. By the time that Sheila was recording the EEPs, we'd done some high-quality percussion recordings in South India, and we wanted to incorporate some of those as well. And there were clean recordings, and then we've later put loads of phasing, distort, and all that kind of, all the studio effects on it. She broke the mould. It was really good, and once you moved away from the beautiful melodic, but no less experimental albums that she'd been releasing, solo voice and drone was a radical departure at the time. She just honed it and its performance, and in the writing and the song structures, so that she made it all sound so effortless and extra beautiful. But if you really listen to it, there's, like I say, some pretty radical things going on there. And it was a bold and brave and fearless way of challenging herself as much as her audience. I'd like to read out the key paragraph from Real World's recent press release. It's 2012 at the moment, and they're repackaging and re-promoting Sheila's 4 albums over the coming months, and obviously we're re-releasing all the albums that Sheila's done for Indipop using their original sleeves. And it's worth bearing in mind, while you hear this bit from the press release I'm about to read, that it wasn't long ago that Billboard said of Sheila, one of the most beautiful voices on earth. This is the Real World press release. Unfortunately, this innovative artist's voice has continued to deteriorate. In 2010, Sheila developed burnt mouth syndrome, for which there is no known cure and no known cause. And now she experiences long-lasting neurological pain triggered by speaking. Singing is completely out of the question. She is effectively mute and communicates in person largely through handwritten notes and very basic sign language. Barring a miracle, she's not singing again. It's a tragedy. Sheila Chandra, a unique artist, innovator, creator, and businesswoman. I've got so much respect and admiration for her. To go from Monsoon, which was groundbreaking in all respects, to an album like Quiet in 2 years is stunning. It was, according to a section of the Asian audience, an evolutionary leap. Then, to be brave enough to take a 5-year research sabbatical, and soon after play a series of live concerts for the first time with her newly devised voice and drone material. She was never afraid of making challenging leaps, and around about that time, Sheila formed her own publishing and production companies to maintain creative and artistic control, as she reconnected with a large organisation like Peter Gabriel's Real World label. Then, to be willing to record 2 projects with the maverick Ganges Orchestra, recordings which continued and developed her solo voice rag-based drone style, and added the Ganges Orchestra's radical sounds. It all takes great courage and confidence in your own abilities to flourish in these edgy new landscapes. Oh, and I haven't yet mentioned how young she was to be taking on such musical and business challenges in her stride, or that she's one of the best interviewers I've ever heard. For instance, on her webpage at sheilachandra.com, there's an interview there. I really recommend listening to it. It's called Interviews, and I think it was Anil Prasad.